You went to bed at 11, slept a solid 8 hours, no doom scrolling, no late night drinks. You followed every single self-care rule out there. And still, you wake up heavy. Not tired from lack of sleep, but tired from something deeper. Like your chest is carrying the weight of a life that doesn't feel like yours. Your body's rested, but your spirit, suffocating. You lie there, staring at the ceiling, asking the question no wellness coach can answer. Why do I still feel empty? This isn't about sleep, it's about depletion, the kind that no magnesium, journaling, or breathwork can fix. It's not your body that's tired, it's your soul. Because you haven't been living, you've just been performing routines, performing ambition, performing happiness, and every day that performance chips away at who you really are. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. You're not resting, you're just pausing. You're not resetting. You're recharging just enough to be a functional cog in a machine you never signed up for. You wake up rehearsed, not restored, ready to say the right things, act the right way, smile when expected, grind when expected. But you're never really ready to live. Modern life has rebranded rest into a productivity tool. Sleep isn't healing you. It's just helping you not fall apart. Yet. You don't wake up refreshed. You wake up armored to face a world that only values you when you're producing. That's not living, that's surviving. And here's the brutal reality. You are not alone in this. According to Gallup, 76% of American adults say they feel mentally exhausted at least once a week. That's 3 out of 4 people dragging their spirits around like invisible anchors. But instead of asking what's wrong with the system, most of us turn on ourselves. Maybe I just need more discipline. I should do yoga. I should be more grateful. Number. You don't need more supplements. You need more truth. Harvard already said it. Chronic fatigue doesn't always start in the body. It starts in your values. When you live out of alignment with your core, when every day feels like a betrayal of who you really are, your soul starts to shut down. Not because you're lazy, but because your identity is eroding. So ask yourself, why do you feel more tired after doing everything right? Why does your chest get heavier even when your calendar is light? Because your exhaustion isn't from lack of time. It's from lack of meaning. You're not burnt out from hard work. You're burnt out from fake work, from holding up a version of yourself that isn't even real. The one that smiles in every Zoom call, posts the perfect quote online, and says, "I'm fine," when your entire spirit is screaming otherwise. You're not weak. You're just tired of resisting yourself. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But what happens when the world punishes truth and rewards masks? What happens when being authentic costs you your job, your image, your place in the pack? You split in two. There's the you they expect, and the one you hide. And that tension, that's the true source of your fatigue. You're not waking up to a new day. You're waking up to a role you didn't choose, a pace you didn't set, expectations you never asked for, and your body feels it, in your chest, in your breath, in that constant disconnection that follows you, even into moments of stillness. You know you weren't built to live like this. Nietzsche saw it long before we had phones and 9-to-5s. He said the worst kind of suffering isn't physical, it's spiritual stagnation. It's living in a world that rewards obedience and calls it morality, where busyness is a virtue, where slowing down is weakness, where rest is for the lazy and stillness is failure. So, we keep moving, not because we're thriving, but because we're terrified of what we might feel if we stopped. We've built lives so packed with noise and notifications that we never have to hear the quiet voice inside that says, "This isn't it." And that, right there, is the trap. You've been taught that exhaustion is honorable, that collapsing is commitment, that pushing through pain without complaint is what makes you valuable. But valuable to who? Let's be honest, most of us were never taught to live for ourselves. We were taught to live for approval, for applause, for results that can be measured, marketed, and monetized. And the worst part, we're so deep into the performance, we don't even realize it's an act anymore. We say we chose our job, our niche, our hustle. But Jung warned us, most of our choices aren't really choices. They're programs, scripts we inherited from culture, family, media. We think we're climbing a ladder, but it's a ladder placed there by someone else. And even when we reach the top, we still feel empty. You wake up tired not because of what you're doing, but because of who you're doing it for. Because you've spent years becoming the version of you that made sense to others, while burying the version that made sense to you. And the cost of that is massive. Jung called it soul fragmentation. It's what happens when your inner life becomes inconvenient, when your truth is treated like a liability, when you suppress every part of you that doesn't serve the role you're playing, and slowly, quietly, you forget who you really are. You wake up one day and realize you've become useful, but not whole, capable, but not conscious, productive, but not alive. That's not just stress, that's spiritual starvation. You were not born to be a brand. You weren't designed to be a machine. And if your body keeps whispering, "I can't do this anymore," maybe it's not burnout, maybe it's rebellion, maybe it's your soul finally standing up and saying, "This isn't who I am." Now enter Nietzsche, the man who dared to ask, what if your exhaustion isn't a flaw, but a protest? He didn't believe morality was inherently good or bad. He saw it as a tool, a weapon used by the weak to tame the strong. And in today's world, that weapon is compliance disguised as virtue. We're told that sacrifice is noble, that pushing past your limits without complaint is maturity, that to rest is to be selfish. But again, selfish to who? To the same systems that benefit from your silence, your burnout, your obedience. You weren't taught to rest. You were taught to endure. You weren't taught to listen to your body. You were taught to override it, smile harder, work longer, stay quiet, be grateful. And we've become so good at pretending, we now call survival success. You're not lazy, you're loyal to a script that doesn't serve you. Nietzsche didn't tell you to give up. He told you to wake up, to see that what you call discipline might actually be self-erasure, that what you call loyalty might actually be suppression, that the tiredness you wear like a badge isn't pride, it's programming. Ask yourself, who benefits when you're exhausted? Who gains when you say yes to things that kill your joy? Who wins when you silence that small, persistent voice that whispers, "This isn't me anymore," because that voice is still there, faint but unkillable. And it's not asking you to hustle harder, it's asking you to return to the self you were before the roles, before the masks, before the world told you who you had to be to belong. And that's where the healing starts, not with more effort, but with more honesty. Check your inbox, it's 10 p.m., another quick update. Your calendar's already full tomorrow. Your phone lights up with some motivational quote, "Rise and grind." And this is the culture we've normalized. Hustle isn't a choice anymore, it's an identity. You're not praised for being well, you're praised for being available, for pushing through the pain with a smile, for answering emails at midnight like it's some kind of achievement. We've glamorized burnout. We call it commitment. We celebrate self-neglect like it's discipline. But let's be real, it's not. It's obedience. And the scariest part, no one has to force you to keep going. You do it to yourself. You monitor your own productivity. You punish yourself for slowing down. You wear the whip, call it ambition, and drive yourself into the ground, all while believing it's your choice. Byung-Chul Han, the Korean-German philosopher, said it best. We are no longer being exploited. We are exploiting ourselves. You don't need a boss breathing down your neck. You've become your own prison guard. And that's the final twist. This exhaustion, it's not an accident, it's the blueprint. The system thrives when you're too tired to fight, too drained to question, too numb to rebel. A tired person doesn't start revolutions. A tired person doesn't ask, "Who am I really?" They just scroll, grind, obey. So, no, your exhaustion is not a sign of failure. It's a signal, a red flag, a soul alarm that's been ringing day after day, hoping you'd finally hear it. What now? Step 1, redefine your values. Not the values handed to you by society, your parents, or Instagram influencers. Your values, the ones born from clarity, peace, and truth. Ask yourself, what actually matters to me? Not what looks good, not what trends, what feels like home inside your soul. Step 2, protect your vital zone. That sacred part of your day that reconnects you to yourself, whether it's solitude, art, a walk, or simply silence. Guard that time like your life depends on it. Because it does. Once you give that away, the machine takes the rest. Step 3. Drop the roles. Let go of being the always smiling one, the one who never says no, the perfect team player. You don't owe anyone that. Start telling the truth. Start saying, "This doesn't work for me anymore." Start showing up as who you are, not who you've been trained to be. Because if you don't choose your identity, someone else will. So ask yourself, how much of your life is truly chosen? And how much is just inherited behavior, survival instinct, cultural default? If the second is bigger than the first, then your problem isn't time. It's theft. Your soul has been outsourced. And you've been waiting. Waiting to be seen. Waiting for permission. Waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to stop performing. But no one's coming to save you. So here's your permission. Reclaim your life. One breath. One truth. One brave boundary at a time. You're not here to endure your life. You're here to live it. And maybe, just maybe, waking up tired wasn't the problem. Maybe it was the warning, the one you've ignored for years, the one that kept ringing from the depths of your soul, begging you to stop pretending and start remembering. Now that you've heard it, the only question left is this: will you go back to sleep, or will you finally wake up?